Okay, welcome everybody to the March 2026 Raleigh Astronomy Club meeting. Tonight's topic will be From Raw to Ready, Hands-Free Astrophotography Data Management by club member Naveen Malik. So you may ask yourself that, well, how much of this does this have to do with actual going out and imaging? Well, I mean, Naveen has been with us for a long time, and if there's anybody who's been really prolific about collecting lots and lots of data, I would think that he would be the professional of how to manage so many files. So Naveen, just go ahead and take it away, and we are interested to hear what you have to say about this because I can imagine how much of a headache it is. Because over at work, in fact, here I am rambling. I do a lot of microscopy, so who knows? It may be translatable to stuff I do at work as well. But,
Maybe.
anyways, yeah, thrill us. Take it away.
All right. Well, hopefully thrill you. But anyway, this is a bit of a passion project. I'm really excited to share it with you guys and gals. I've got my own setup that I've tested with. Um, One of the things I want to say up front, like if you're interested in using this tool set and it's not using the stack software for what I do, let me know if you have example data sets that you can toss at me. I would love to have it. I don't use ASI Air. I have a SharpCat license, but I don't use it for imaging. So like it would be neat if it could do more than what I do, which is Nina to PixInsight. So um, all right. So I'd like this to be interactive. So if you have a question, don't remember if Zoom has a raise hand option, but like just blurt it out, interrupt, it's fine. I'm going to go through a presentation. I've got a demo, um, but yeah, if you have questions as we go, please let me know. So the problem, um, yeah, I collect a lot of data. So in a night, there's hundreds to over, the example I've shown a little bit is over 1,000 images in a single imaging night. I do targets across multiple nights. Some of my targets I've done over more than a year collecting data. Um, I found process or managing data for mosaics to be particularly annoying to make sure that uh, I collect everything in a way that I can then quickly process a master and PixInsight. And then you have not only just the lights that you've captured in a particular night, you've got all your bias and darks and flats, managing those and organizing them over time. Flats, do you keep do you keep some kind of library? And for myself, I do keep flats for every single night that I ever take them. One of the things I haven't solved very, I haven't, don't have a silver bullet for right now is like image quality assessment or blink. So taking a look at your images and seeing if there's star trailing, out of focus, clouds, a bird, who knows? Uh, that's a tough problem. I'm trying to figure out more ways to automate that because that takes a lot of time. And then taking the calibration frames you have, your darks, your flats, etc., and matching them to your lights to make sure that you have everything lined up. Um, I started working on this project. It's a refinement of something I've been doing over the course of multiple years. I finally got to the point where that last step of matching stuff up was now automated. So I no longer worry that I've forgotten to, you know, get the right darks or flats put in the right place for my lights, and it's great. And I'll have in the demonstration show a little bit of that. Um, so just an example night, I have a C8 with an IMX 571 sensor. It's a APS-C, and I have an SQA 55 with an IMX 585. So it's one of the small sensors. And in one night, February 13th, the C8, I had 400 images. I kept about 20 gigabytes over 6 different targets. And the SQA 55 was 900 images because it's a faster system. can take shorter images, 15 gigabytes over 4 targets. So, 1,300 images in one night. And I don't think I've, in the last couple of years, had a target that I didn't span multiple nights with, just because I tend to like to collect a lot of data for my projects. So data management's really something I'm into. So the scripts that I've written, I started about 5 years ago with monolithic, gigantic Python scripts. I recently converted into the modular tools that I'm going to present tonight. I'm really excited about them. Very focused. They're very focused on doing one thing and doing that one thing really well. As I mentioned, they may not do it perfectly well to match every input data set, and I'd be very interested in collecting more use cases to help improve it. I've been using that monolith script and now the more modular tools for over 5 years. I have been using Claude Code, so coding or agentic coding assistance for this. And I just want to throw out there that everything is open source, Apache 2.0 licensed, and there'll be a link at the end of the presentation if you're interested in seeing the source, the documentation, the whatever. It is available out on GitHub.
Hey, Naveen.
Yes.
So yeah, your previous slide, since I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not computer savvy, but what's Claude Code?
Claude Code is one of the agentic coding um, assistants out there, I guess. So ChatGPT can do some coding. Um, Gemini can do some coding as well. Claude Code is built for software engineering. You can do more with it because it's a large language model backed tool.
I mean, is it
Um,
accessible to just about anybody, or is it something that you have to buy or whatever?
I'm pretty sure there's a free tier. So it's like Claude.ai is the website, I think. Um, and I've used also another one is cursor.com. They're similar. I've just landed on Claude lately. I think the outcomes I get with it work much better for my workflow. Um,
Okay, very good.
Over the weekend, I had it write an Android app for me. Uh, it's useful, and I've never written an Android app, but I have it installed on my phone. I got that far. It's like published, not into the Google Play Store, but to like developer like Firebase, I think it's called. Um, so it's fun.
Very good.
All right. So the goal, what if it just works? You capture data and you're done. You run a couple commands. All the bad frames are gone. This is my goal of making that step better. Matches all your calibration frames, and basically you've got a directory that you can then input into your software of choice and have it spew out a master light. And for me, that software is PixInsight, but maybe this would work for others. That's another thing I'm not 100% sure. Couple of key things that I've done, like key principles when looking at this, that I thought was useful to call out. I do calibration libraries for everything, bias, my darks, and flats. I keep my flats. One of the reasons for that is I do sky flats, which means sometimes I can't get my flats because there'll be clouds or the rig. Like one morning, my rig, I came to my backyard to shut everything down, and it was pointed at the western horizon where it was supposed to be taking flats like near zenith. I'm like, well, I guess I don't have flats for that rig tonight. Um, Want to keep things simple, and I'm making an assumption that storage is cheap. So what I do is I copy calibrations, my BioStarks flats, copy them all over the place, and we'll see that in the demo. And I manage my state for all the data in the file system. Again, we'll go over what I do. Uh, I'm going to share exactly what I do from output from Nina to uh, organize data in the file system. So we'll see all of that in action. And I use Nina and PixInsight. So the key thing there, I just wanted to call it out in case, because we'll see it in the tooling as well as my demonstration is PixInsight can use the files directory and file name, the path, to define fits headers basically. So you can have key underscore value and override what's inside the file, your fits file in a header, or define something that's not set in the fits file. And that's something that I use heavily. For example, Nina it has the ability to output like the RMS and HFR numbers that it's calculated, but it doesn't put it inside the file. You can output it as part of the file name or well, you put it in the file name because it's individual each file. So that's something I utilize for that um, automated culling, or as I call it, the rejection of bad images. If it's out of focus, your HFRs can be really big, and that's something concrete that you can programmatically make a decision about and not have to look at it as a human being, which is lovely. I'm going to get real quick into the directory structure that I use. So the calibration library, there's 3 subdirectories: master bias, master dark, master flat. Bias and dark have a subdirectory for each camera. And then under flat, you have camera and optic, or whatever you call your telescope or lens, and then the date for the flat. And then inside that date, you'd have, one master flat for each filter. If you're one-shot color, maybe you only have one filter. For monochrome, I'm going to have like 7 different filters for my setup. So that was calibration, but now there's the actual data or lights. I guess I should call it lights, but it's data in my head. So I have a root directory, and then under that, I decided a long time ago to use the name of the telescope or lens or whatever, the optics, include the focal length, or sorry, the focal ratio, and then the camera. Because sometimes I'll tweak the focal ratio, I'll swap out the camera on occasion, all these are all different chunks of data. As we were talking about before the meeting kicked off, combining stuff from different rigs into one master can be a little challenging. So maybe Steve will do a presentation on that sometime once he figures it out. And I have 6 stages that I've landed on over the course of many years of tweaking this. The first stage is blink. This is the quality assurance stage, the quality control. Are my images good? If not, do something with them. The second stage is data, meaning I need more of it, need more data. Most of my projects live here for most of their life. Master, I'm done collecting data. I need to create the master. Process, I've created the master, and I'm either processing or need to process that data set. Bake is I'm not sure I'm done and I haven't published it. And then done, I finally published it, released it to the world, and started sharing it. I use these directories just to manage the state of my projects over time. Then I want to show real quick a directory, an example of one project. So within, this is from the SQA. I guess I can use the annotation. Yeah, cool. SQA 55. Oh, it doesn't delete it. Clear all drawings. Okay. I will not use the annotation thing. In the Blink directory, this is, I've done all of my initial quality control. These are the pictures that are good. Got a target, California nebula. I use a directory called accept to say that I've looked at them and they're good. I have a date directory for that one night. Under there, I'll have all the masters for darks, flats, and maybe bias if it's like a one shot, or sorry, a not a cooled camera. And then a subdirectory for each filter and exposure time where all of the individual FITS files live. Thankfully, with the tools that I've created, you don't have to care about this. It'll do it for you. So the process, pretty simple at the macro level. We have captured data, raw data, and we want to be able to create a master light. That's it. Simple. There's a lot to unpack in this one little arrow, though. We go from the raw data into two different workflows that then merge together. So we need to organize our lights. We need to do that quality control, look for star trailing or out of focus or the clouds or whatever. House roof is in frame. And then you also need, if you've taken new flats, which I recommend, or maybe you've got a new rig and you've just taken your first flats and darks and bias and whatever, you need to integrate those, organize them. And then once you have all that, you can bring them together, bring those calibration frames to your lights. And then at that point, you could create a master light out of that because you've got your potentially bias, definitely, hopefully your darks and flats, and then your lights. So what have I created? The tools. Take the far, your raw and you're ready to process masters off the screen because it got a little busy. As I mentioned, the key value pairs in the file names, I use that to actually write into the FITS files sometimes, so they're preserved and durable in the individual files. That means if I rename the file, the data doesn't go away. I do that for everything. And then I've got a tool that will take those raw lights, organize them in that Blink directory I mentioned. I have a step that will automatically cull the lights based on RMS and HFR. You still need to do manual blink because those are not enough, unfortunately. And then if you're doing flats with a panel, the calibration frame side would be completely automated. There's no review. I do blink my flats because quite often there'll be clouds, unfortunately. But integrate all your masters and then move your masters to the library. And then after you have all your lights blinked, your calibration frames in your master library, copy the masters to Blink. As I said, I think I'm treating storage as a cheap resource and I'll just copy them over. I don't reference them. And then I move the light data from the Blink directory into a data directory. So that's the second stage. And then, make a call as to whether or not I have enough data. And if so, move it to master and I'll be ready to create my masters. Bit of a wall of text, but these are those tools just mentioned again. And there's one that I didn't mention. I've got one that does a simple empty a directory. It's like pointed at a directory, it will delete everything in it. I use that for cleaning up after like the master frame calibration, and it'll remove the raw bias dark and flat images after everything's done. All right, I'm going to get into the demo now. I will pause. So if anybody has any questions before I dive into that. No? Okay. All right. Hopefully this is big enough.
Yeah,
Um,
big enough on my screen.
awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right. I've got right now I have some scripts and we'll take a look at a little bit of them. But I just want to show you the data that I have set up in the directory structure. So I have a directory called data. This is empty. I have a directory called library. That's empty. I'll skip the raw for now. I've got reject, which just has a script that I've found useful and I can explain that later. And WBPP, which is what I'm going to have the output of PixInsight go into, that is empty. I've got a sample raw data for bias, darks, flats, and lights across 2 rigs. And I don't have a lot of files. This is just, like 5 images maybe for each of these. These are monochrome cameras, so I've got flats for each filter. And then for my lights, I've got 3 targets for each rig. And it expands a little weird, but Pleiades here has 2 different filters, so we can take a look at how it treats that at the end. And I'm going to go from this is simulating a new rig where I've captured all of my raw calibration frames and I've done my first night of imaging. And I have nothing else. And my scripts, I've got a reset script so I could prepare this demo and reset it. I'm just going to run through each of these scripts one at a time. They do what they say on the cover, but you can take a look super quick. Sets up directory, some constants, like where is my raw directory, where are all the raw lights, darks, spice, blah, blah, blah. It'll mention what we're going to do and pause. It will do the thing it said it was going to do using the tools. And then I'll pause again and then just ripping through all of them. And I'm going to get it right. No, not that one. 2, everything. All right, here we go. We're going to preserve the headers from the lights. We're going to move the lights to the blink directory, and then we're going to cull any of the lights. So it's just basically looking at really bad HFR and really bad RMS. Go. Okay, the font's so big you can't see the progress bar super well, but there you go. All right, we're done. Oh, it didn't pause. My bad. I think I hit enter. We can take a look at some of the other outputs. It is possible you could rerun any of these steps, by the way. It's all idempotent. It won't be destructive. Just might be a no-op. Okay, so my setup, I normally would go blink the flats. We're not going to do that in the demo. I did them with a flats panel anyway for this one. So we're going to calibrate or create masters for our bias darks and flats. We do bias and darks first because flats use bias and darks. As I mentioned, I did do sky flat, so I do dark scaling because I don't know how long my flat exposure is going to be. It's variable depending on sky conditions, etc. This will fire up PixInsight, and I'll try to toss it over onto the side of the screen as it's ripping through them. There we go. So it's doing the bias right now. So I went out and found all the bias in that bias directory, the raw bias directory. So onto the darks. Found all the darks in the raw dark directory. You can see a little better. It's creating those masters. It's got a progress bar, so you can see how fast it's going, how long is it going to take. how many it's processing per second. It's a really neat little library in Python that I didn't have to write, so I'm very happy. And now we're copying them to the master library, and now we're doing flats. Flats are a bit different. We need to calibrate individual frames first. There's 70 of them. It's ripping through them real quick. And now it's creating the masters. There's 14 because I have 7 filters for each camera, two cameras. And it'll be done pretty soon. And then I'll copy the master flats into the library.
Naveen, question?
Sure.
Yes. Can you say what computer this is running, operating system, and version of Python by any chance?
Python I'm running is 3.14. I do have tests running against, I believe, 3.12 and 3.13. Computer, it's Windows 11. I'm running this. Let's see, what else is important for that? I mean, you could run it in a virtual environment. It should be pretty safe to run other environments.
Right. That's my question. I typically run my M3 Mac with Windows on that. So just want to know if I'm going to be able to play with this at all. And
Oh, I would hope so. And yeah, Steve, if you have any problems with, if you pick it up and try to use it and have problems, let me know. We'll fix
okay.
it. We'll make it
All right.
work.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. All right. So we have our lights. I want to take a look back here. Don't need you open anymore. All right. So what's happened? We moved the first step was we moved all of our lights. So that data directory is now populated. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it figures out the optics, the focal ratio, and the camera, which is all from FITS headers. It creates the blink directory. It's done the initial culling, and I've started creating a reject directory because I want to see if there's some patterns I can programmatically reproduce from like visual culling of images. So I'm starting to keep all the things I reject. The blink directory has each target, and in that we have the date folder, and in that we have each filter, and in that we have the individual image file. So it's all organized. I'm not going to show all of them. The library, we have all the masters for each camera, bias, darks, and flats are in a date, camera, optic, date, and then the flats for that. And if we wanted to, we could see WBPP. This is the output from PixInsight. Each of the calibration frames has its own directory. And it's not running WBPP actually, it's simulating it. It actually has the scripts that are executed in the logs directory like you would get from the pre-processing scripts as well. So if you were interested in what it did, it's there. Okay. Let's collapse that. Let's close that, go back to here. All right. This is the step I really want to cut down on the time I spend on blinking the lights. That seems to take, I don't know, half an hour. It's crazy. All right, so we blinked. So we have our lights are organized. We have our calibration frames integrated, and they're organized in a library. Now we can bring them together. We can copy the masters to that blink directory. And because the data I collected was on the February 16th, and I don't have flats for that night, I've got it set up now, and this tickles me pink. Because my sky flats and the fact that I don't always collect flats, I've been manually copying the flats files from previous nights over, and it's finally no longer a problem. They're like, yeah, I'll take this newer one. That's fine. And it would show previous ones as well if they existed. There. So you can see for the first rig, the summary, 3 targets for 1 date, 3 filters, copied all the 5 darks, 5 flats, cool. Second rig, 3 targets, 1 date, 3 filters, that's coincidental. 3 of 4 darks, so we're missing a dark, and I did that on purpose. I want to show you what happens when you don't have all your calibration frames. And then it copied the 4 of 4 flats. And then says, warning, the master frames are missing, check the logs above. Great. I'm going to clean up bias darks and flats, so we'll wipe out those raw directories. We'll wipe out the WBPP because we don't need that anymore. We've got our master stuff. There's no log output for this. It kind of irks me, but it's fine. And now we can move to the data directory, right? Not quite. So one thing we didn't do, there's still a manual step, and I'm going to pull this over. In that Blink directory, and I apologize, this is smaller than the VS Code screen, but there's an accept directory. As I mentioned, this is what I use to indicate that I've taken a look at it. And I didn't move any of them. So my software doesn't think I've actually accepted these yet. So I'm just going to move them. I still want that ability to verify. Maybe I can automate this someday. We're not there yet. All right. So that was the end of the quote everything script. So I'm going to run the last step, the moving Blink to data again, now that we've actually accepted everything. And now it's copying files. Except it did not move some because of that missing dark. And it tells me it didn't do Spaghetti Nebula because it's missing the darks for the filter for my hydrogen alpha exposures of 60 seconds. And if we go look here, here's that Blink directory. This is the only thing left. And if I go look in the date, there's my lights in the folder. I've got my master flat, but no dark. So this, when I come back later, I'll know I still need to create something for this particular target, and I can quickly go figure that out. What was the last thing to show? The data directory got created, and we have our targets are moved in there. Yeah, I organize stuff like this because it helps to cut down on some of the calibration frame duplication. So these two flats, or sorry, these two lights are 30-second exposures, so the darks are 30 seconds. So I only need one dark of 30-second with the two flats there. And I think that's that. We can go back to the demo if anybody has questions, thinks of something as we wrap up here. But this is the workflow in a different view. We're going from capturing data in Nina through a series of tools that I've written that get us to a point where data is in a standardized format in a directory that we could then toss into PixInsight and probably Cyril and create a master light. And I said, there's the links to the docs. There's links to all the repositories for each of the tools, how to install it, the workflow. I mean, I created this presentation based on the documentation that exists there. So if any of it's wrong or something isn't clear or is missing, let me know. Happy to refine, fix it.
Okay, very nice. So one question I have, I don't know if it's necessarily your cup of tea. So looking over this thing, yeah, I mean, I'm not as, again, not as computer savvy as you. So I guess that's the only way I can put it. But have you ever like considered like, doing a walkthrough like you just did, and like put it on social media somewhere?
Um, I'm assuming this will be posted in the RAC
Yeah, on
thing on
YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
So
I didn't know if
yes,
it's something that you would like, I don't know, just dedicate with something in more
yeah,
detail for, well, frankly, imagers worldwide, maybe.
yeah. I have thought about it. Yeah, that's not necessarily my cup of tea. I've done a couple of short videos and posted on YouTube, but um, that's not necessarily a skill that I want to really pick up.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's fine.
Naveen, another question.
sure.
You say Windows 11. Has anybody tried this on a Mac or on Linux
No,
that you're aware of? No.
no. But
Okay.
I mean, I I do everything I do professionally on Linux, so I would say based on that, I don't think there's anything that would keep you from using this on Linux.
Yeah.
Um, I think you might hit some quirkiness with running PixInsight, simply because I don't know if the Linux build of PixInsight is going to have the same parameters that Windows
Well,
uses.
I would first try it on my Mac anyway, but
Yeah.
I'll give it a try.
All right. I'm excited. I'm love to hear how it goes, T.
Okay.
Hey, Naveen.
Yep.
Um, Questions about your hardware. What's your setup like? Are you processing on the same machine that you're collecting the data? Are you transferring the data between machines at some point?
Um, my rigs, I have a Mealy Quieter 2, some variant on all my rigs. Well, the two rigs I have. And I use Dropbox right now to sync the data off. I I use my main PC, which uh I it's like a what is it? Intel Core 9 with 64 gigs of RAM, and I don't know what the GPU is, but I'll do the initial organization on that. And then I have a virtual machine I run in a closet, literally closet downstairs, that I'll run PixInsight on for the WBPP, simply because it'll crush my computer. You know, it'll eat every bit of resource it can. But then for image processing, once I have the lights, the master lights, I do come back to my main computer. So
And
it's all over the place.
what's it all stored on? Is it all on a portable drive, or what are you putting it on once you get it off the
Okay.
Dropbox?
I have two large um, drives mirrored in the computer.
Okay.
Um, and then I have an external drive that I do as another local backup. Um, I have Backblaze for an offsite backup of the entire computer.
But for the most
So
part, you're keeping all these files on your computer on those two hard drives that are backing each other up, and then they're just getting backed
yeah,
up somewhere else too. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Right now I'm at a bit over 7 terabytes, I think. Um, it was big enough that I had to get another external drive. I can no longer fit it on there. It was a little annoying.
Yeah,
Um,
I bought a 20 terabyte Western Digital. And that's what I use. And it's fast and it haven't run out of space yet. It
yeah.
probably, but yeah.
I've got a
Uh,
NAS that I store stuff on, but I find that I lose too much in the speed if I try to process off that. So I keep things
mhm.
on an SSD for processing and then switch it over to the NAS when I'm done. So I'm trying to figure this in my workflow, how I would use this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well, so for processing, do you mean for WBPP, like pre-processing?
Yeah, the pre-processing
Hmm.
step. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at the point right now with my virtual machine that I'm doing that on. I just tell it to go and I walk away. I'll come back later and hope it didn't crash, which happens a lot.
Yes,
It
it
runs
does.
out of memory. Um, yeah, it's like I only allocate 32 gigs of RAM to it, so larger data sets tend to cause it to fall on its face, which means I have about a 50-50 chance with the data sets I do for it
But you
falling on
need
its
these huge
face.
data sets, and then you limit it to 32. Like, all right, get by with that.
Well, it's half of the physical host.
Yeah.
So, and my kid's running a Minecraft server on it. We've got a couple other game servers on it. So it's like I can't dedicate it. But when that happens, just to throw it out there, PixInsight will save the process container with all the icons up to where it failed. And that's usually image integration. So I'll take that and that image integration process and just change it from the default memory buffering configurations. Usually drop the whatever the default is in half, like cut it by 50%. And then just run it for whatever filters haven't died, and it's fine.
That'll solve it. Okay.
Yeah. I am working on a script to automate that because it's annoying. It works, but it's annoying.
Naveen, I have a question about your blink process. When you
Sure.
when you do the blink, have you got this thing automated somehow, or do you visually blink and
Oh,
look at the images?
I visually blink them. Yeah, I can't get out of that yet. I'd
Okay.
love to.
So when you did your
Um,
demo, you were assuming that everything was okay and just ran
yeah,
through
that was the cooking show version.
that. Okay.
Everything's fine. Um, there is I can pull up here. So I have Blink 2. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Let me pull that over here. The thing it adds, uh, do, do, do,
What is it you're
do.
talking about?
Yeah, let me just grab a couple images here. So normal Blink doesn't have one of the best features this thing does. Let's say I don't like these two. I'm going through, I'm like, oh, reject, reject, I'll press space. Oh, don't like that one, don't like that one, whatever. I used to have to like manually go click each of these to then I'll go here and move them to somewhere else, right? Blink
Okay.
2, you click this little icon, which will select everything checked. It adds this, invert. Such a little tiny quality of life things, especially when like usually I'm looking at hundreds of files. So it's like I'm scrolling through with a scroll bar and just doop, and then I can move them to a reject directory like here.
So this is Blink 2, is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, I'll get the info for that and email it to the list.
But that's part of PixInsight?
It's a process you can add in. It's not part of the base.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's absolutely worth it. Like I said, it's just that one little icon. That's all.
Have you considered adding in like using HFR and I can't remember what else, but have you tried adding in the stars, like the number of stars?
I have, and Nina will output the number of stars. I can't remember if I included that in my culling script. Older versions in my monolith script did use the number of stars, but I found it wasn't super great. Um, because Nina's detecting a subset of stars and reporting them. It's not typically reporting every star, so it's not really showing a lot of variance, and it wasn't enough for me to actually do something.
Okay.
And if you're talking about like a really low number of stars, so like it's just, below 10, well, what about if it was a narrowband filter? I found like hydrogen alpha, I'd see like 5, 6 stars reported by Nina, and the image was fine.
Okay.
So, uh,
It's your the logic you have built in there is kind of like I was imagining, like whatever HFR, you have like hard limits, like a range.
yeah,
So it's not within each data set, like whatever the mean and the standard deviation of that is.
yeah. Let me pull that up. Uh, this, or just to break these up. So this is what I have. And these are the actual numbers I use for my 2 rigs. So for my C8, the stars are much more floaty. But the RMS, if it's above 2.0, I say 100% of those get rejected. And then if RMS is above 7.0 and it's less than 30%, I'll reject those outright as well. And then the SQA is a little bit more robust. So, same with the RMS, but then the HFR, if it's above 40, I'll auto reject up to 10%. I didn't show it in the demo. When I say auto reject, it will prompt you to say like, hey, I want to reject, 50% because of HFR. Do you want to do that? Yes or no? So you have can decide if you want to or not.
Okay, so it's like culling off the 10 worst percent or the 30 worst percent.
Well, no, it's finding how many of the images in this last particular case, how many of these images in this data, in a data set are above a 4.0. And if the total, like the number that it wants to reject is more than 10% the total set that it's considering, it'll
Okay.
prompt you. Yeah.
Yeah, just to get your attention.
Yeah. I tried a couple years ago, like doing like a standard deviation based rejection. The problem I found with that is that the variances across nights, that you just didn't have a consistency, and I didn't spend the time to try and pull them together. Or what I probably would be better to do is like have all of the data until you're ready to process the master and then do the rejection. At which
Yeah.
point you run the risk of I've rejected so much, I want to go collect more data. But
Yeah, knowing the number of stars will change like throughout the night on the same target as it gets higher or darker.
or moves into the nearby light bubble from the
Mhm.
city that's northeast of you. Yeah, yeah. Or
Yeah.
northwest. Yeah. Holly
I
Springs.
just put out the link to the Blink 2 place where you can put it on. And I just right now installed it in PixInsight. It just fine. So
Yeah, awesome.
it works.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, so that's gonna be pretty helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty nice little tool. Um, yeah, what else? Okay. Well, if no other questions, I guess, Chris, back to you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Yeah,
Naveen.
thanks.
Well, I mean, you gave us the QR code. I don't suppose I could ask you to just like maybe on Discord or Groups.io to put that out there. Just a quick summation of what we went over here.
Yeah, sure.
The GitHub link, basically. You don't really need
Yep.
a QR code.
I'm happy to share it.
Do what?
I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. So, let's see. Okay, what is it? So we're on to our second half of the meeting, and where we take a look at any images that our participants have taken since the last meeting in February. So who out there has new material? Anybody?
I do
I
have
guess
one.
I'll go ahead, Jefferson.
Or,
I'll go
oh,
second.
okay. Yeah, I did have something pulled up. Let's see. Share screen. Yeah, we got like this. Okay, so can y'all see this, I guess?
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, so yeah, there's Rosette Nebula. I think this is a little over 9 hours. This is, again, the same 5-inch Newtonian that I've been using, f2.8. And it was, I think, 4 different exposures. I had it pulled up here. Yeah, so like 10-second, 30-second, but the bulk from 5-minute exposures and some 10-minute as well. So yeah, there's just UVIR. First time been doing a lot of just UVIR filter kind of imaging this past year. Yeah, so I was kind of happy with that. So use PixInsight, and I do 2 separate stacks. I'll do the HDR kind of stack mostly for the stars and use those stars in the image, and then um, just I guess regular integration for the nebula part of it. I think I'm zoomed in about 50%. So yeah, it's 100% zoom in. So pretty happy with, I guess, what I was getting. Yeah, I don't, I kind of just gathers a bunch of data as much as the weather will allow, and then put it all together and see what I got. So it's kind of usually a surprise to see how things turn out. But yeah,
Those dark globules show up really nice. They kind of look like they're in 3D because they're so sharp. Those are
yeah.
the ones in the nebula itself, those little,
Oh yeah, these guys.
yeah, the Panther and the other ones there.
Yeah, this is it about 350 or 360 focal length.
That did,
So
did really nice.
yeah, I didn't use any of the like dark structure enhance or anything like that. So yeah, 'cause sometimes I feel like that ends up making you kind of lose kind of detail contrast within kind of the structure. So but yeah, so that's the one I was able to put together. I still have other data sets that hopefully I'll be able to get to. But yeah. So
Well, I got one question actually.
yeah.
So, okay, so I mean, you went over the different exposures that you had there, or sets that you had,
Yeah.
um, and you said that I'm assuming the one that we're looking at right now, that's an HDR composition, right?
So I do two. So I'll do the HDR composition and then also do integration stack. Yeah, like I'll
I'm just
do
wondering what the two look like. I mean,
yeah. It's kind of a, I guess, subtle difference. I just typically find that I get a little bit better signal to noise ratio when I do the just the PSF signal. Oops, keeps trying out of that using the PSF signal weight and then additive with scaling. Generally, get just it's not a huge difference, but I find it gets a little bit better signal to noise ratio for the bulk of the image. But then the HDR composition, I think, does a pretty good job with the stars. Um, yeah, so then, yeah, that's what I've been starting to do, kind of like a layered, you know, sampling. Not not a lot of time on the shorter exposures, but what is this? Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I guess I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I was just, I've never seen anybody you know, do this in HDR. I mean, you said you only did HDR just to tune the
Hmm.
stars, right?
Yeah, I usually do the HDR stack because it doesn't take that. I mean, compared to everything else, it doesn't take that much longer to do that. But yeah, I'll do the HDR stack and then just pull out the stars. Um, and I just find that I can get more color out. I don't know, kind of subjective.
No, I mean, that's, yeah, that's something I never considered though. I mean, as far as like HDR to actually, well, like you're saying, just make your stars look better. Not necessarily because there are objects in there that are, that saturate the
Yeah.
signal or whatever.
But yeah, I just started thinking of it as a like most stars, typically are always you're gonna have saturated stuff, and even some of the really bright stuff are still gonna be a challenge. Um, but just in general, able to try and extract more color out. And usually I'll do because I'm using Nina, so then I'll set up a loop and I'll just one exposure after the other. So like instead of having to dither, after each image, I'll dither once after one group, dither, and then run through another group. So then that kind of cuts down on the lost time there. And then these are each separate stacks that I'll then go through all the processing and then do the integration, the HDR and then the, I guess, quote unquote, regular integration separately. So it definitely ups the processing time. Because on top of that too, I do a 2x drizzle. So then quadruples the processing time and then adding more stacks. So it definitely, so when I say I got a backlog, it sometimes it feels like I can collect data more quickly than I can process it. But then, the weather helps out on the other front.
Have you
So
tried like doing the HDR with uh, fewer stacks, if you will? I don't know the right term, but because I tried this, I did this for a while. I'm trying to remember what rig. Because like as you say, like the really bright stars become saturated.
yeah.
But the shorter exposures, I just went really short. I think it was like 2 minute exposure versus 15 seconds, and I didn't have anything in between.
Hmm.
And I'm struggling to remember if there was a reason why I did that, but I think I just didn't see that much or any difference adding like
Yeah. It's definitely
more ones.
subtle. And
Yeah.
I've kind of gone back and forth where I'll just do, two exposures, like maybe 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And then on others, still trying to figure out like what's the optimal balance.
Yeah.
Because I'm not capturing a lot of images at the shorter, exposures. I'm trying to get to 30 on those, and then like try to get to 30 on everything, and then just start pushing the longer exposures up, depending on how the forecast and all that stuff looks like. Um,
Gotcha.
Because yeah, like I did a similar thing with the Pleiades image I'd showed, I think previously, where it was even more kind of ridiculous from 1 second up to 10 minutes. And I don't know, I had like 8 different levels, if you will. And yeah, the processing on that was definitely tries your patience. So that was a little bit more extreme. So still trying to find like some balance between that. So, but yeah,
Cool. Thanks.
overall, I think it's been working out. So yeah, that's the image I was able to get get processed before this meeting. So yeah,
Well, I'm happy. So,
yeah, thanks.
yeah, very well done. I mean, of course, this is something that I would always ask all the time when I look at something like that. Are you thinking about expanding it all the way to the Christmas tree or the cone or whatever? I was asking a
So,
question,
oh
Jess.
yeah, yeah, I was muted. Yeah, sorry. I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's the because I think last time you mentioned too, I showed the Cone Nebula and then Dryer's Nebula, did a mosaic, and then yeah, the Rosette Nebula is quote unquote nearby, but in terms of panel stitching, it's like, I don't know, for me, mosaics are, I've only gone up to two panels. Um, and then, yeah, I don't know. Everything after that seems like it's just too far away in terms of available time to image. But maybe, who knows, over the years, it's just those in between panels. I don't know. Maybe if I was at like I had it set up remotely or something where, the quote unquote empty in between space, you can actually draw out more of those fainter, structures.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, that's reasonable.
But who knows? I don't know. Like you just never know until you look. Just kind of have to keep plugging away at collecting data.
Yeah, that's something that I tend to do a little too much, and where I would just like go out and take a picture of an object with full intention of going after another data set with something that's nearby.
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking that these days, it was like, you know what, Chris, you probably should just knock it off and do something wider, or just be happy with
Hmm.
something narrower or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It just kind of quote unquote justifies getting a new setup for either longer or shorter focal length.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Anybody else out there have any material?
Yeah, I'll go next.
All
Hang
right.
on.
Yeah.
Let me get organized here. Uh, let's see. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong thing. You share. All righty. Let's see. That's this one, I think. Okay. Is that coming through?
Yep.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
it.
All right. I'm just experimenting with the sea stars pretty much. Uh, this is uh, I guess it's called the Raspberry Nebula, VDB 38. And this is a little over almost 3 hours on this uh, with the S30. What is it? I can't see on there. Something else is in the way. Um, with the S50. Yeah. And so I'm basically just doing C star stuff and seeing what I can do with these things and how many hours I need to sit on something in order to get anything at all. So that's something I tried because I'd never looked at this before at all. So I didn't know what it was until I looked it up. So that's SH263 also. And then, uh,
Actually, see,
yeah,
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, can you go back to the other one?
yeah, hang on. It's good. Wait a minute, I got to go back here. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm messing up. There we go. Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, I could always just like go and look at it myself from your Astrophotography account, but I'm looking at arc seconds per pixel there, 1.19, and I mean, this is something I never really looked into as far as what camera is that the
Well, this is heavily cropped and zoomed in.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, this is not what the S50 sees. This is a fair amount of processing and then zooming in on it to see what's there. The field is much larger than this. But my experiment is to see what I can accomplish and see that's small with a C star. And so, but if you take enough hours, you can usually zoom in on things and see structures and things like that. And I was just curious to see what this area looked like. So, and then this is the Lowers Nebula, same kind of thing. It's also cropped in, and with 3 hours and 20 minutes on this. And I'd never done this before, so I just aimed a ES30 Pro at this. And that has even a much wider field of view, so I really zoomed in on this one. But the camera on the S30 Pro is a bit better than on the S30, so you get more detail on even small things. Let's see, what's this one next? Okay, then this was something we talked about of the this crimson star is carbon star. So it's this one down here that's kind of orangey and it's very variable. So it goes from from red to not quite so red and bright to not quite so bright, that kind of thing. And so I just aimed it at the sky with the S30 and to see if I could find that particular star. And then what you can do is you can wait throughout the year and then take another picture of it and see the variability in that particular star. So I'll wait a few months and do it again, or whenever it's in the sky again. And then let's see. Then okay, M81 and M82. This is with the C Star. I think it's the Pro. Is it? Yeah. Just to see what I could get with that. And this is a little over 3 hours of that. And I'm going to try a lot more because I can't get much color out of this or anything like that with just 3 hours on this particular scope. And then there's the Markarian chain with the S30 Pro. To see what I could do with that. This is just 1 hour, so this be worth adding more time onto it. And then let's see, what's this? I may have shown this. I was trying the different things. I don't know if I showed this last time or not, but 3 weeks ago, I guess not. And trying with the Dwarf Mini in this case, and then with the C Star S30 Pro, which I think gives a better image than the Dwarf Mini for roughly the same amount of time. And then this is the full frame for the S30 Pro. Yeah.
I mean, you can go by the name S30. I mean, what is the aperture of a Dwarf Mini?
I'm not even sure. I mean, is it on here? It might be on here. It's the same. It's roughly the same 50 millimeters, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's much smaller and lighter. Then there's my version of Rosette with the S30. This is 8 hours. All of the stuff fairly recently. And then this is old stuff. And then this is what I've been working on lately is this one. I did 2 hours with the S30 on this, and then I added another 2 hours 2 nights ago just to continue to get more detail. So this is 4 hours now with the S30. And I did this with the S30 Pro, and this is what I'm trying to combine what I do with the S30 Pro with the S30 and see if I can double up on the S30 scopes on the same target and see if I can get more out of that. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I'm working on it. I would like
put a link in.
Yeah, I saw that, Jim. Thank you for that. I'll look into that.
He may have how to do with other programs too. I don't know if it's just PixInsight, but he does it with the Crab Nebula with 4 different focal lengths.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna try that. But I'd like to combine the S50, the S30, and the S30 Pro all on the same target and get many hours in one night, like 9 hours in one night on a single target rather than 3 hours with one scope. Just out of curiosity to see what I can get with that. So that's the current project I'm fiddling with right now. So that's all I've got, Chris.
Okay, very good. I think the last not last, but the first person I ever saw done something like that similar. He was that guy who had his website was called Deep Sky Colors. I don't know if you remember him. Yeah, he did something kind of along the lines of what you're talking about. The only difference is, I mean, he had more money to burn, on astrophotography. So, again, it was a long time ago. So, I mean, there's better tech around now. But he had those two Cadillac type scopes. I think they were Takahashi 106s. They're really well known to have pretty good optics on them. But that's what he did. He had two of them going at the same time, and was just making these really incredible mosaics. And on each one of them, he had two of the same CCD sensor. I mean, that's how long ago it was. It was CCDs. It was some sort of S-big camera set that he had on there. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what you can come up with just having, I guess, 3 cannons out there shooting at the same place. I mean, see what you can come up with. So anyway. Okay. Anybody else out there have any new material to look at?
I've got one I can show.
Okay. Is it another glove trotting target?
Nope, just shot this one in Virginia.
Okay.
This Firefox there. I actually shot this back in October and then realized I still had data I had been sitting on, hadn't processed yet. So you can see over there on the right just how much time I put on there. I don't think I learned about this. So it's a planetary nebula and blew up about 22,000 years ago. And on the top end there, it's a bow shock. It's moving through the interstellar medium, creating that bow shock. And on the bottom half of the picture, it's getting sort of like a comet-like tails that sort of drags through the interstellar media. So I thought that's kind of cool. I never knew that about this. And then just in terms of processing it, I think I was going to do process luminance separately, and then I didn't like how that was coming out. And I just ended up just using the RBG data, and I could have blended it a little bit better. My colors didn't came out a little bit too hard edged on there, so I wish I'd kind of separated them out and then blended that together so it wasn't so, I don't know, shaggy looking. I think it's a pretty cool looking object. I love these things that have names and they look way too much like the thing they're named for than you think they should. Like, how's that much like the Firefox symbol? That's all I got.
Okay, very good. I'm trying to look up the particulars of this thing. About what kind of object is this? Would you say it's a winter object?
I mean, I shot it in October, and it was pretty high in the sky. And I can't just remember just where it is. I can pull
I
up
see a
on.
video. All right.
So you can look at it. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Wow. I'm trying to find how tiny is this thing?
You can see over there on the right with the scale that we're looking at. It's pretty tiny.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's very nice.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard about this one. Very nice. I guess it does look like the Firefox logo.
It's kind of wild. I ended up doing to get the colors the way I wanted them. It's an HSO image, but I ended up sort of artificially coloring each channel until I got the color blend I wanted.
Yeah, very good. All right. Anyone else out there?
I got some, Chris.
All right. Go for it.
Let me stop sharing here. There we go. That's not what I wanted.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a share button on mine, Chris.
Maybe at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I don't see it. Oh. Hmm. Okay, let's try it. All right, everybody see that?
Yep. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
it.
Yeah, these are all four of them. These are all done with my 2600 Duo color camera, and this one's through the Meade 14 at about f 6.8. And it's just a couple of hours. I need to get some more time on this one. This was done about a week ago.
Yeah, I
It's
like the
very
area at
nice.
the upper right.
Okay, and this one with the Rasa using the same camera, done Tuesday night.
Hmm.
We had a real dry night Tuesday night. I think the dew point was like 7 degrees or something like that. It was a very dry night, so I spent just an hour on M42 with the Rasa.
Any
Which Rossi
filters
do you
on?
have?
No filter, no.
No filters.
No, the one of the Cone Nebula, Steve, had a Optilong L quad filter on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but the rest of these two more here don't have a filter.
Which Raza telescope do you use?
The 8.
8 inch? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, it looked like 400.
What
Yeah.
what exposures were you using?
They were 2 minutes, just an hours worth of 2 minute subs at
Okay.
f2. Very, very transparent night.
Yeah, I always look for the structures in between the two nebulae there. If you,
Mhm.
sometimes you don't see those, but if you do it enough,
Yeah.
yeah, there's this funny cloud, dark cloud area in there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there. Yeah.
Mm. And this one was from also from the past month. This is with the Meade 14 at f6.8, and it's 5 minute subs. It's about 40 of them with the 2600 duo camera.
How many other galaxies do you see in there? I see it, multiple other galaxies in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there's one kind of faint one off to the right between.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there.
I shot this several times, but I never managed to get any detail in this little galaxy down here at the bottom until this
There's
one.
one down at the low, yeah, the lower right there. Yeah,
Yeah, I got a face-on spiral down there, it looks
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And this is just the Owl Nebula, which was in a good position with the Meade 14 at 6.8. And
Yeah,
no
that's really
filter,
nice.
no filter with it either.
Looks like some small galaxies in there as well.
Yeah, you got this one here off to the right and
Yeah, yeah.
in here. But, that's all I got.
Very cool.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, anybody else out there? No? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Naveen, for the presentation there.